Hi, Stuart Sutton at Real Estate Consulting Solutions. This short video is going to share with you the one question that you need to ask real estate agents, but it's a question they hate to answer. You'll see what I mean when you use it. But you've probably seen this type of thing before. As a matter of fact, I went to pick up some food the other day rather than having it delivered because we figured it would just be a little quicker. Had a lot of things going on and we were hungry. So I went to pick up the food. And as I entered, I noticed the gentleman at the counter was kind of harried. A lot of things going on. He was rushing to the back, rushing back to the front. He was very courteous, but when someone else came in, he'd let them know their food would be ready. Let me know mine would be ready. Hurry to the back, hurry to the front. And I said, "Are you the only one here?" And he just looked exasperated and said, "Oh, they hate it when people ask that question. I'm not supposed to answer that." I said, "Well, you kind of did. What's going on?" He said, "Well, this is a 3 to 4 person shift and I'm the only one here and that just happens too often." I said, "Well, hey, it's all right. Just, get it out when you get it out." So he was right. It was kind of crazy because my 17-minute estimate took 45 minutes. But that is the question that organization hates to be asked because they haven't fixed the problem. I'm going to share with you the one question real estate agents hate to be asked. So stay tuned. Yes, there is one question I highly encourage you to ask. Actually, several, but this is a big one. And the responses you get will be a little unpredictable because a lot of agents will have never even gotten this question before. But I highly encourage you to ask it so that you know where you stand with that particular agent. But first, I'm going to cover some minor ones. There's really a pretty long list, but I'm going to cover some minor ones for you as well. And as I said, these are situational. They don't like you to ask, "How long have you been in real estate?" Newer agents do not like that question. As a matter of fact, a lot of brokerage companies will train newer real estate agents on how to respond. I've heard all kinds of answers to that. One is, well, which would you rather have, experience or enthusiasm? And, that sounds pretty good, but maybe there was a time when I'd have rather had enthusiasm, but at this point, I'd really rather have experience. We're in a market that experience pays off big. So another answer I've heard to that is, well, I don't have as much experience as some agents, but I've got a great support team. Well, that's great, except that when you need something right away, you need something right away. And you may not have time for them to go find a solution or an answer or track somebody down. So it's just a different scenario when real estate agents are newer in the business. Now, we've all been there. There's no doubt about it. But when you're talking about the kind of investment in the kind of fee you're paying, I would opt for experience over enthusiasm or the ability to go find you an answer. I hope that makes sense. Another one that you're going to hear, if you're dealing with a larger team or the head of a team, you might ask, "Hey, who's going to handle my prospects when they inquire about my home? Will that be you personally?" Well, they hate you to ask that because it's usually not them personally. They'll probably have a staff member or one of their agents handle that. And that's just not quite the same. Now, I will admit there are some teams that have really qualified agents on the team, but they're usually not as capable, qualified, and knowledgeable as the listing agent. I pride myself on knowing more about the properties I listed than anybody else. And I think that's the way you should see your real estate agent. They should know more about your property and be able to convey more about your property than anybody else. Anyway, those are just a couple of examples. There are others, but let's move on to the big one. Yep, there it is. Would you please detail how you invest your funds to help us reach a successful sale and closing? The reason I encourage you to ask that is because many real estate agents invest nothing in the successful sale and closing of your home. They invest nothing to help you get there. Let me explain what I mean. The first group of agents makes little to no investment in your home, in you and your home, in listing your home and getting you to a successful closing. The investment they make is their time. They probably work for a brokerage firm who provides everything for them, signs and lock boxes and web pages and things like that. So basically, they're getting provided everything and paying the company back out of commission splits. But there's no upfront cost or risk or investment by them. Now, they may argue with that and say, well, we do pay for our gas or to charge our electric vehicle or our business cards or our MLS dues. That's true, but in the big picture, that's really a nominal, minimal thing to do and is required to be in the real estate business anyway. The next is a minimal investment, and that's an agent who doesn't work for the big brokerage, or maybe they do, but they're just on a different plan. In other words, they may buy their own signs and pay for their own web pages and go beyond what a brokerage firm does in the way of providing services for an agent. So they're making investments beyond that, and that's great, but it's still not necessarily an investment in you and your home. Now, they may provide pictures and video tour when they list your home, and that's great because now they are putting money up front. The next step is what I would call a modest investment. And this agent would, for example, bring in a stager and have the stager help you prepare your home for sale. Now, I'm not talking about bringing in furniture and all that. They wouldn't pay for that. They'd expect you to pay for that. So just so you know, and I've got another video on this, consultation should be plenty unless you have an odd floor plan or rooms that are difficult for someone to picture how they would use them. A good stager who consults with you about how to prepare your house is plenty, and your house will look great after that consultation if you do what the stager tells you to do. I've got another video on stagers if you want to watch that when you get a chance. So this agent who makes the modest investments, they probably pay for their own signs, and they pay for their own web pages, and they pay for pictures, and they'll bring in a stager for you. So now they've got some vested interest in you. And the modest investment up front is probably the type of agent you're going to want to end up hiring, because the substantial upfront investment is really rare. You don't find many agents willing to do this. I've come across a few across the country who are willing to make a substantial upfront investment. Now, for much of my career, I would pay to have front doors refinished and garage doors painted and landscape mulched, and I had an actual budget to do that. And there are some agents who do that. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be the best agent for you, but someone who's willing to put their money where their mouth is usually a pretty good risk. So, little to no investment. They work for a brokerage company and everything's provided for them. A minimal business investment, meaning that they pay for a few things to run their business. The modest investment is an agent who invests directly into your home and listing to get it sold. And then the substantial upfront investment is an agent who really makes a substantial commitment to you. Now, I've got another video on this, and you're going to want to know about this. Some agents who spend money up front are going to want to get it back if your home doesn't sell. You need to be aware of that. I'm not saying whether right or wrong, but you need to be aware of where you stand if the home doesn't sell and what the listing agent has invested and what expect of you. My personal opinion is this: it's a cost of doing business, and it's a small percentage of the fee being paid to them. So if they have a house that doesn't sell once in a while, I don't see any reason that they should expect that money back. If they've done a good job, you'll call them and list with them the next time you want to sell anyway, right? So I've talked about a couple of other videos. I did throw one up right here. This one talks about the fees that agents want to be reimbursed sometimes. You need to be completely aware of where you stand. I hope that video helps. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more like this, subscribe and get notified when new videos are posted. We post consistently. Remember, it's your choice, so make it a powerful day.